Okay, so now we have these three major parts of the face. So let's start putting them together and forming up the initial face or the base of the face. So what we will do is we will select all of these, and then I will choose combine, or I will click combine here. So now they are all together. Next thing is I will first start bridging. By the way, most of the commands that I will be doing here is bridge. Let me turn on and turn off the wireframe mode. I turned on the X-ray mode. Okay, so I'm also on highlights or shades in wireframe mode whenever I turn off my see-through mode or X-ray mode. Okay, so most of the commands that I will be using here are bridge, and then extrude on edges, and target weld on vertices. Okay, so those are the three common commands that I'll be using. So first off, so since I have already combined this, that will now allow me to do some bridging. So I'll select this column edge here of the nose, and then I'll select this philtrum edge of the lip, and then I'll just switch this to panels perspective so I can see them both here. Also, I can switch this perspective view to a more solid view so I can see clearly there. So I have this two selected, and then I'll just use the bridge there. So I've created a new polygon or face on that, pressing Q to go back to the selection tool. Now this time I will skip one edge here. I will skip this, and then I'll go to the next edge, and then I will select this bottom edge of the flap, right, that nose flap portion there. I'll select that, and this third edge of the lip here, and then I'll do another bridge. Okay, pressing Q. So now they are together. Then the next thing, I'll select this and this to fill that gap by a bridge once more, pressing Q. So now I am almost, or having, or I have started to have this upper mouth portion. Okay, the upper mouth portion is starting to fill up. The next thing I'll do is, again, I'll just go back to my transparent view there. I'll select this edge here, and then I'll press W for a move tool, and in the front view I'll hold shift and drag to extrude that. Oops, sorry, shift and drag to extrude that. So I'm going to extrude it long enough for me to bridge it along with this. So what I'll do next is I'll just select this new bottom edge here, and then I'll just hold shift and select that last edge of the lip or before the lip corner, and then I'll go to bridge, pressing Q. Now we're done with that. I'll switch to the vertex selection and start moving this. I'll select the newly created vertices and start moving them along the contours of the face as per the reference, starting slightly to spread it out a bit, right? And then I will of course go to the side view, go to panels, orthographic, and then side view, and then look. So from here I'll turn on the see-through, and then I'll start selecting this and pushing it back also, and I'll select this vertex, and then I'll push it back also. So it starts to follow that contouring portion or edge of the face, so it starts to wrap around. Okay, so next let's start also building up this nasal area here. So what I will do is I will go back to the edge selection, and then I'll select this edge, right? So this is actually the 1, 2, and 3. This is the third edge of the bridge of the nose, and then on the flap I will select 1, 2, the second flap of or the second bridge, so the second edge of the nose flap. Okay, so the third edge from the bridge of the nose and the second edge from the nose flap. And then I'll just go to bridge once more. Press Q. So there they are. Next, I will need an edge here between the two of them. So I will just use a multi-cut tool, Control and Shift on the 50%. I'll just click, and there I have that. I'll just press Q to exit the multi-cut tool, and then I'll go to my vertex selection, and then I will just select the vertex and do a target weld so that I can cover that hole. Pressing Q to exit the target weld, and then going at the front view, looking at what I have created, pressing W for move. So there it is. I'll just arrange it, try to feel the contour there properly, right? Because I'm seeing the shadow here, so it's going to be like flowing on to that, right? So that's how it's going to flow. Next, now I will start to get or fill this portion also. So I can do the same. I can select these and hold shift, and I can select this other edge here, right? And then I can do another bridge. I can press Q, and then I go back to multi-cut tool. I'll hold shift and control, click at the 50% once more, and then press Q to exit the multi-cut tool. Go back to the vertex selection, select it, turn on the target weld, and then I'll just click and drag and target weld it onto that vertex, and then turn off the target weld. Still on the vertex selection, I will start to move following the flow or contour of the reference of the character's face. So like that. Okay, so from there we have started to build up. Let's build this up a bit there. Okay, so we have started to build up the nose. So let's start bridging. So with these new polygons that we have created and edges, we can start bridging now the nose and the eyes. Okay, so I can select here. So this tear duct here, or edge by the tear duct, and then this topmost edge, let me turn off. Yeah, so here, and then hold shift and here. So now I have those two. I can start to bridge them also, pressing Q there, and then I will select the next one, and then the next edge is going to be here. Okay, let's select that, and then I'll go for bridge, and it starts to fill, pressing Q, and then it follows the order. So the next edge here, and this one also, bridge, pressing Q to exit that, and then the last one here is this one, and then of course this one. The angle here to select is very difficult, so I'll just go here and hold shift and select it from this angle, deselecting anything else, and then I'll just do another bridge there, pressing Q. So now with this newly created, or earlier that we have extruded edge, we can select that and select this, and then we got another bridge there. So far that face is starting to spread out. Then I'll press object mode selection. I'll go back to my see-through mode. So I have started to fill out the face, or the cheek area here. So next is we need to start creating the side of the lip, and also the start of the brow line here. So what I will do is I will first go to my edge selection and select this, and this, and this. So this is going to be the top portion for the brow line. The edges for the brow line have been selected, right? And then I'll press W for move. I'll press shift and then drag it upwards, and there it is. Okay, and then I'll start to switch to the vertex selection and start moving them accordingly, following the brow line mainly there. Then I'll just select this, dragging this first forward here, and then there, backward here. Yep. And then here, forward, lower it a bit. And then here, I can also move from here at the front and start with the curvature of the brow. There, and then I can select this, drag it to angle it here. Like that. So the rest could follow along. Let's say this one goes here, and then this one also goes here to this point, and then this one, yeah, moves along that, and this one moves along here. Now those are front view movements, left and right, and this one here is going to be a forward and backward movement for the side view reference there. I'll just drag this there, and then here, dragging it forward carefully, and then this one's going to recede back there. Okay, so now that's the brow line there, been created. And let's start with this one. So let's start to fill it out first. So the side of the eye, so that we can start later on with the jawline. Okay, and we can also complete the cheek area. Okay, so you can do that, or we can do this by selecting the edges that we have here first. Here, and then here, 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 and then here at the side of the mouth. Okay, so those are the edges that I have selected. Here, the eye, here, the cheek areas, and then there at the upper mouth, and then finally here, the corner of the mouth. And then I'll just shift, click, and drag, going backwards, like that. Of course, you will not be able to see it here, right? Because it's really going backward in a straight manner. Now I will just, here at the front view, I will just drag it going to the right there. So now you can see it. As you can see, the shades are changing because of the highlight, or it's being lighted on a different direction now because I drag it on an angle. So next is, I'll just turn on the vertex selection, go to my target weld, click this corner, and then drag it onto that. Or no, I can click this corner instead and drag it upwards, so that there, I think that's a better position of the vertex. W, yeah, drag it a bit there. And then here, we'll start to make it spread out, following the contour of the face here. And then there, yeah, something like this to start with, pushing it back, dragging it there. And then here at the front, or sorry, at the side view, I'll just carefully align, realign, reposition it, right, as I see it in accordance to our reference. Let's raise this up a bit there, and then this one here. Okay, so saving my work, and then I'll create the first layer of the lower mouth, as I have created the first layer of the upper mouth. So I'll just go here on the edge selection and I'll select these edges. Let me turn off the see-through mode so you can see, pressing Q, the edges that I'll be selecting. This one, hold shift, this one, and this one. W for move, shift click drag, there. Now I will just go back to my see-through mode, and then I'll start just following first the contour of the reference here as per the front view, right? So let me spread this a bit so that it follows along there, right? And then here, and then I can now do a target weld for this and to that. Then turning off the target weld, selecting this, W for move tool, and there it is. So far in the front view, let's say that is okay. Carefully adjusting this, and then this, so this. Okay, next I'll control space or space bar onto the other side. I'll do a see-through mode also and start looking into it, and I will start to push this back so that it starts to round the face, right? Carefully starts to arc and round the face accordingly. So there, that's what we're having here. Saving the work, and so far that's what we have done. We have first created the first layer for the brow line, the first layer for the upper and lower mouth, and then we have also bridged the eyes and the nose to the creation of this cheek area here, and we have bridged the mouth and the nose to the creation of the upper lip area, upper mouth area here. So we will continue building up the face on our next lesson.